So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to mix a few encaustic opaque colors with a titanium white and ivory black and create interesting hues, create a tint, create a shade, and create a tone. So for this demonstration, I'm using cobalt blue, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium red medium, and chromium oxide green with titanium white and ivory black. And of course I have my cake of medium to dilute the colors and keep the brush strokes nice and flowing. So I've got 4 different brushes. I'm just displaying them here for 4 different colors, so I don't have to keep cleaning my brushes out all the time. And for those of you who have taken my classes, you know I have different families of brushes so that I'm not cleaning my brushes all the time and upsetting the balance of the encaustic medium and the encaustic colors with either paraffin or soy wax cleanser. So here we have cobalt blue, little bit of medium, I think I'm gonna have to try and get some background music so there's no dead air between the pauses of my demonstration. Some titanium white, some ivory black, titanium white is the only white that I can get with encaustic and RNF right now, but it's the best mixing white. So I'll take, oops, I just dropped my medium. Okay, I'll take the cobalt blue, and I've got a little white card. You can actually use a larger format if you want to make a big chart of color mixing. So there's the cobalt blue. I'm taking the cobalt blue, putting it into the medium and mixing it into the white. It's easier to mix a color mixing into a white rather than vice versa, because white is pretty intense and it will tend to swallow the color. So here you can go and add as much white as you want to create a tint. You can see the tint there. Clean my my brush off. A little bit more cobalt blue, and I'm mixing it in with the black. So now you're going to get a shade, quite a nice indigo-y shade. So here again, this is a great way to expand your colors rather than buy a whole bunch of colors. So now I'm going to mix all 3. And you're going to get a shade. So a little bit like a Payne's Gray, perhaps. Because RNF offer over 80 different color choices, which are quite exciting, but they're also, can also be quite costly if you buy all of them, you can mix quite a lot of your own colors. And RNF also have a very handy color chart, which I give all my students. I will send the color charts to you. And on the back of the charts, they have listed the different pigments they've used to create the various encaustic paints. Now obviously you can't mix an earth color like sienna or umber or even cadmium, but you can mix lovely compound colors like warm rose or just looking, cadmium, cobalt teal, colors like that, King's blue. It just saves you some money, and it's also fun, I think, to mix your own colors and get your own hues. And again, it's very helpful to create charts so that you don't forget how you got a color. So now I've cleaned off my palette nicely. I use a chunk of medium to clean off the surface of my palette instead of paraffin or soy wax, just so it doesn't upset the balance of the medium or the encaustic paint. So let's go in with the cadmium yellow medium. This is a lovely warm yellow. And when I get to doing the translucent colors and mixing them to get tints and shades, there's a lovely Indian yellow that gives you beautiful, beautiful creams. Okay, so we're going in with the yellow. This is cadmium yellow. Quite beautifully bright. Now again, if you were in your studio and you have the same opaque colors lined up and mixing them along with me, you'd be able to see the colors more vibrantly, and they would be giving you a true hue. So there's the cadmium mixed with white to get a tint. And mix a little bit of white, more white with that. So you got a lovely creamy tint. Clean my brush off and get in with a little bit of black. And you find often that mixing colors gives you surprising hues that you wouldn't really think would happen. So here's a shade with the cadmium yellow medium and the black, so it's almost an olive tone. And then of course we're getting, whoops, that's a little bit too much black. Mixing all three. I'm sorry, that's a shade. Mixing all three. And we're getting a tone. I think I'll mix a little bit more. Get a little bit more. So we get a tone there. Clean my brush off. My next video with mixing, which is going to be with translucent colors. And cleaning this off. And just know if I'm working on a painting, I'm not cleaning my palette off all the time. I've got, you know, a few colors that I'm working with. So at the end of the day, once I've stopped working, I turn my palette off and let the colors solidify. And then turn them on again at the next day, and they're ready to go. So you're not having to clean your palette off all the time. For instance, like you would with acrylic or oil paint. And so this saves you a lot of wasting color and wiping colors and throwing them out. So there, I've cleaned my palette off. And of course, this is the Cadillac of palettes. It's anodized aluminum. I make them. We can get into that later. We're talking about mixing colors now. So here we are, cadmium red medium. Look at how vibrant that color is. This is one of the things that really thrilled me when I first learned about R&F encaustic paints and the beautiful colors that they make. It's, you know, the dry pigment mixed in with the medium to give you this beautiful color. There's no fillers. It's just pure pigment floating around in translucent medium. So these colors absolutely vibrate. And you put some colors together and they just pop beside each other. Shoot, did not intend to do that. Okay, so here's the cadmium red. Very intense. I think we all know what's going to happen when we mix it with the white. We get a pink. So there's your pink tint. Cleaning off the brush. Taking more of the cadmium and mixing in with a little bit of black. It's going to get you a fairly earthy shade, I think. Almost a violet. And then mixing the whole trio together. To get a shade, this is a shade, and get a tone. Dare I say it looks like Dusty Rose? Remember Dusty Rose? So I'm going to do something, just a little bit of a segue. So take a little bit of the white again. Mix it in with the red. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the yellow and see what we get. So you get an interesting peachy tone, and mix a little bit more yellow. So that's when things start to get fun and exciting. So I'm going to clean this off again. This exercise does use a lot of paper towels, so get a supply of cheap stuff. But we're just about got this cleaned off, and we're going to get into chromium oxide green. Okay. So here's my chromium oxide. It's a nice earthy green, not too bright, as opposed to cadmium green. So I could have used cadmium green. It's a little brighter. Might try that, because I don't think the video has gone too long. So medium. A little bit of white. So I think you can see we could, as a group, we could have at least an hour or so having fun, mixing different colors, allotting different colors to different people to mix to see what they come up with. I did not mix the cadmium first, so there's a tint. It's talking too much. So there's my pure cadmium yellow. There's the tint. Mixing it with the black. There you're going to get a shade. It's quite a rich green. It's almost like a sap green, but not as transparent. And then mixing the whole triad together. To get a tone. So yeah, you know, now that I've got the cadmium green out, let's see what it does to mix when we mix it with white, white and ivory black, because it also it's also opaque. And you know, this can continue on ad infinitum. Not really, but for a long time. Like I say, to get together and do a Zoom for an hour or so would be terrific fun. So I got my white, my black, my medium. Just got a new card. So there's the cadmium green, quite bright. Mixing it with yellow, white. You get a tint. Getting some black going. I've got a shade here. So I think you could be starting to see how you can incorporate these colors into a composition, a landscape, a still life, portrait even. So now we'll take the 3 of them, mix them all together. And get a tone. So I've mixed 5 different opaque colors, and you can see the different hues you can come up with just by mixing with white and ivory black, and then also, in this case, a third color, yellow. So that's it for mixing opaque, encaustic paints for now, and we'll see you in the next video.